here to start designing that interaction. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the 6 objects here that we want to make up one of these lists. And I'm going to use a command in Thermo to convert the artwork to a list. Now, this is going to do 3 things. It's going to put a new list on our canvas in place of these 6 items. It's also going to ask me for a name because we're going to start defining the behavior for how any individual item in this list should behave. The mouse over behavior, how it grows, and what the effect is going to look and feel like. So we'll give that name album. And it also tells me that, hey, I just grabbed 6 items, and it's going to put these in my design time data collection for me. This is going to be the sample data that I get to work with as I explore what my app's going to look like. And I'll call each of these sample images, we'll call them CD cover. So I'll say OK. And you'll see a panel slide up from the bottom here. This is our design time data collection. So this is available to us so that we can start to work with some semi-real data as we explore the transitions and the interactions here. So now I want to actually define the behavior of what happens when I mouse over any item in this list. So I could actually, well, before I do that, just to prove that this is a list here, I could actually adjust the padding of the list. And if I were to adjust the padding, you actually see the original artwork is still there. We just lowered the opacity of it in this case, so we can still use it as an onion skin or as a reference as we lay out our app here. So let me get our padding moved back to where it's supposed to be. And what I'll actually do is I'm going to go into our layers panel over here, and I'm going to turn off the opacity on that original layer so that we won't see it when we run our app. So now, I want to define what happens when I roll over or mouse over any individual item in this list. So I'll just choose any item. Choose the item here. And this will go into an edit in place mode. So what I want to do is I'm going to use my in-context display here to easily add an event. I'm going to say, on rollover, I want to go to a new state. And I'll call this state details. Say OK. So you notice the new state now that's over here in our states panel. And states are just the differences between kind of our base, what it looks like, and what we want it to turn into. And it'll define the transitions between those two. And I'm going to also ask Thermo to create automatic transitions for me as I make changes in this detailed state. So as I start to make changes, you can see default transitions that are created for us. We'll probably go and tweak those in a little bit as well. So, like I said, I wanted to mouse over one of these, and I wanted it to grow. So let me just grab the corner in a very freeform way. I'll just grow it out. That looks like a good size. Now, as I made that change in the state, you'll see a default transition that's been created down here.
Because what? Because Thermo actually detected that there was a change from one state to the other.
Exactly. So I can actually even preview that default transition that's been created for us. So I can see what it looks like now going from that base state to that detailed state. And that looks pretty good. That's a good start. I also, in this detailed state, wanted to add some additional information, like the artist name. So we'll add that. And I also wanted to add the album name down here as well. So let me make those a little bit bigger so we can see them. And I want to make sure that they're always centered. So back to my properties panel and say, make sure that they're always centered. Let me choose maybe a bigger font so everybody in the back can see. I'll make it white, and then I'll give it a good drop shadow so it really pops off the canvas there. Good. So now I've got some default fade transitions that were created for me as well. So I could actually go in and preview going from that normal state to that detailed state. I'm not sure I really like that, so let me adjust this a little bit. Maybe make the fades happen a little bit longer. Maybe make the album name happen after the artist name. That's a little better.
I think it'd be better if it was faster.
Yeah, I think what I'm actually going to do is I'll move these fades back, and I'm really going to make that, oops, grabbing the wrong thing there. I'm really going to make that CD item just pop when I hit it, so it'll come out really fast. That looks pretty good. So now I've really designed and tweaked the transition to be the way that I want it. I used earlier with the text box. I've got the 2 rectangles selected. I'm going to use the command in Thermo to convert artwork to, and at this time I'll choose a horizontal scroll bar. Now, it converts it to a scroll bar, but it doesn't know how it should work yet. And to show you that, I'm going to go and edit this scroll bar in place here. And over in our layers panel, now you see we have some of the common components that a scroll bar expects, but they're represented here as layers. So if I expand out the thumb and I expand out the track, you see that Thermo took all the artwork and then applied it to the track layer.
Yeah, so what Thermo did, what can be done in Flex is that each control can expose the various logical pieces, and they get exposed as layers, which is really natural design.
So I'm just going to identify that smaller piece, that piece that I want to be the movable thumb of our functional control, and I'm just going to move it up. Oops, I right-clicked as I did that. I'm just going to move it up to the thumb layer. And with that, we should now have a functional scroll bar. It'll know what should be the track and what should be the movable piece that communicates the value of that scroll bar.
Yeah, one of the things I think a lot of people have wondered is whether they will be able to create their own controls and have this functionality, and they'll be...
Absolutely. It works the exact same way. Right. So the very last thing we're going to do here is now I want to associate that scroll bar with that list. And I'm hoping I don't have to write any code to do that. So I'm going to click on this scroll bar, and there's a little indicator here that tells me that I can wire this up to another control. So when I click on it, I get this wiring handle, and it lets me know it tells me that this will bind the default value of the scroll bar, which is its value, to the position of that list. So I'll let go, and that bound those two components together. So,
how can you scroll with only 6 items?
Yeah, I can't scroll with 6 items, and so I just grabbed those 6 items and put them into my design time collection. Again, I could get a XML file from someone on our development team to feed this in, or maybe an Excel file. In this case, I'm just going to say, just take the 6 items in my collection and just duplicate them so I have some good data to scroll back and forth. And I'll say add 15 items to my collection based on what's already there. So I'll have the 15 new items plus the 6 that I already had. So now in my design time collection here, I've got about 21 items that I can use. And for that, I think we're ready to give this application a spin. Alright, so now we should get the expected behavior. If we mouse over an item, it grows out bigger, it transitions exactly the way we wanted it. You see the text underneath. I should be able to scroll back and forth in our list here. That looks great. Alright, awesome.
Now, we might not want to let Stephen off the hook so easily. I mean, you'd really want this app to really get your music and to do that. But we might not want Stephen to do that actual coding. So what we could do is, for example, I could open that up in Flex Builder and work on the same project, because Thermo and Flex Builder share the same project format and they can edit all of the same resources. So Stephen could continue to work on the transitions and get all of that look and feel right, and I could write the underlying business logic, and we could iterate like that. So what we're showing you today is an early view of Thermo. What we're really trying to do is to make it so that designers don't have to change the way they work, and what they give to a developer really makes more sense. So we're showing you how you can take a Photoshop comp and turn it into a live application. And a lot of the things that Stephen did were things that in a lot of other environments you'd have to do a lot of writing of code. So it really makes it much simpler for designers. So when are people going to be able to get Thermo?
Well, this is just an early sneak at what this product, we codenamed Thermo, is shaping up to be. Developers and designers can expect something next year that they can start to experiment with.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.